Well, thanks, you guys showing and some people hopping online. But my name is Cameron with Purpose Home Lending, NMLS 2613494. My personal one is 2314695. But today we wanted to talk about, because we're getting a lot of businesses reaching out about finance tracking, how to use AI or other tools to track your expenses. And so there's going to be a couple recommendations I'm going to talk about, but our sponsor for today is pretty much Buzzable and Kickoff. I keep wanting to say Kickstart, but Kickoff. And so they're going to be presenting and sharing a little bit about, credit monitoring or Buzzable. And so I'd love, either one of you to take over and share.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Cameron. And just before we begin today, I wanted to drop, for all of you that are watching this recording later online, I just wanted to drop this little URL into the chat so you can take this survey, because we're really trying to understand how we can improve our product in the future. And so before we begin, if you don't mind, take a moment to fill out this survey. And I'll share my screen really quick. So is there any company or tool that helps build US credit at a low cost which you have heard of? And I'll give everyone just 2 minutes to respond, or 2 seconds to respond. And so just to showcase a little bit about the tool, which Hassam, as someone else on this call, has also utilized in the past. This is Kickoff. It's a tool that enables you to improve your credit. So let's say you're interested in purchasing a home from someone like Cameron in the future, and you need help with your credit score. This is a tool which is able to enable you to do that.
Yeah, thanks. It was something we talked about at a previous seminar, but it's kind of in line with what we're talking about today, that, if you don't track this kind of stuff, it kind of falls by the wayside, which is why I wanted to do the presentation today. I will say that, us business owners, you would think we've got our finances totally buttoned down and we've got our credit score totally buttoned down. But to be honest, our time and all of our energy and focus needs to be in our business. And that's where something like Kickoff is huge, because you kind of set it and not forget about it, but you can get those reports and get those updates and just get the insights so that you can move on and put more mental focus into your business. Same thing with a lot of what I'm talking about. This call, I'm kind of promoting our, personal finance management app, but I have a few other recommendations for people as well. What I'd say is, when I started my real estate brokerage several years ago, and this is in California, it's a brokerage for agents. Agents pay to be a part of our brokerage, but we house a lot of the expenses. And then we eventually started a mortgage company. Mortgage company comes with a lot of compliance. And so the expenses pretty much doubled. However, a lot of the loan officers that work with us really cannot be independent contractors. So they don't pay for the tools and resources. We do. So expenses really grew. And I found myself constantly registered and spending money in different places and not too sure where to go. And I found myself in a few networking events recently where I find that this is a common problem with a lot of different business owners. And what a lot of us struggle with is basically what I already mentioned, is that our focus is so much into our business. Things like credit score, which are very important, because as much as people try to talk about, you can just build your business credit. For the most part, when you're applying for any type of business financing or any business related loan, they're going off a majority owner, so 25% or more, one of their credit scores. So credit is very important, and so is your finances, but it's not something that you have to actively be focused on. I found myself signing up for a lot of tools that I thought would really help. QuickBooks is one of them. I think QuickBooks is a great tool to track expenses. the nice thing about it is you can integrate your bank accounts, and you can backtrack for a whole year by uploading your bank account, and their AI system scans all the transactions and inputs it. Downside is you manually go and you set rules for organizing each transaction, and sometimes those rules don't make sense. As much as they try to say they have AI tools, it's not as friendly as you may like. But everyone's different, and I do think that's a great tool. I've seen many others that are so much more expensive, and I really believe that a lot of times what we call the user interface, so where you as a business owner go and look at the platform, it looks really pretty, but that's what you're paying for. Does it really help? Not necessarily. And so when I'm talking about a tool that we have launching, and actually the purpose of this is to talk about something called My Asset Path. It's going to be an app. Right now it is just a website. And so we're introducing this as a beta phase, and we want people to be able to access it for free. Eventually it'll be, I think, like $5 a month, similar to Kickoff. But you can integrate all your bank accounts, input any loan information. If you have a mortgage on a commercial property or your house, you can track a lot of that and get insights on your net worth. If you have investments in any Fidelity, Charles Schwab account, you can integrate that as well. And it gives a lot of AI-driven and technology-driven insights. It all connects safely and securely through a company called Plaid. But this tool, what I'm going to talk about is something that I think a lot of people should be looking for in any business-related financial expense tracking tools. So whether you choose My Asset Path or not, if people want to beta test it, they're welcome to sign up. It'll be free for now, probably free for any beta testers, and just send us as much feedback as you can. But really, you want to have a system that is not overwhelming you. Whenever you find something, you want it to be something that you can integrate credit cards, bank accounts, input loan information, so you kind of get an idea of the interest rate, the loan amount, so that you kind of get a rundown of the how long it'll take to pay it off. If you want to set a goal to pay off a loan faster, or if you want to use AI or something and say, hey, all of my money's going out the window. Of all my debts, what should I be focusing on to pay off faster? Technology nowadays should be telling you, you need to focus on this one. You might think, oh, I could look at all my accounts. There are a lot of businesses that get to this point where every breathing moment of your life is spent thinking about your business. It's thinking about, how do I grow Buzzable? How do I grow Kickoff? How do I grow my mortgage company, my plumbing company, whatever it might be? The last thing you need to spend your time and focus on is something like this. And for a lot of people, they spend a lot of money with accountants, which I'm trying not to say too loud because I think there's one right above us in our office building. But they, may charge a lot. And so a lot of new businesses or businesses that want to invest more money in other areas may not be able to afford that. But this is where technology can really help you. And as you look at places, I would look at, hey, where can I integrate my accounts as much as possible? But what's something that's user-friendly that I can understand? And that's where you want to be able to play around with a system to really test it out. Effortless, account integration. There is a lot of ways to integrate all kinds of accounts, and it's becoming a somewhat of a new thing. Plaid is a big provider. If you've ever sent money through Venmo or gone on somewhere, a lot of business owners, when they pay their employees, they connect their bank account through a payroll processing provider, and usually they use Plaid as that integration to grab that information. The companies you go with, you just got to be careful. Do they house your information or do they sell it? And if not, it's probably a little bit more safe and secure. Like, for instance, our platform doesn't have any account numbers, and we don't house any data for a while, and we don't sell any information. So there's just a little bit less likelihood there's always a likelihood, but accounts being hacked. However, I will say that over the last several years, a lot of accounts that get hacked come from accounting companies because they have employees that come in that may not be vetted and might be stealing and selling information. So you want to have a way where you can have everything in one dashboard. I know a lot of times I find business owners, they go to Chase Bank because it's easy to set up a business checking account and savings account. But then the credit card that they apply for to start their business credit has a lot more rules and regulations. So instead, they'd rather go with American Express because there's better benefits. But now they've got a platform somewhere else where they have expenses there. And then they need to set up, a different credit card because they get rewards because they're a construction company. So they do a Home Depot credit card, but now they've got a whole nother system they have to go to track all their expenses and, spending to payoffs and things like that. Having it all housed in one place makes your life so much easier. And I would just say that whether you choose My Asset Path or not, there are probably lots of tools out there with this capability. What we try to put focus on, because I'm a business owner and I like the idea of whether it's AI or just some type of search tool, I want something that looks at all my expenses and can categorize it pretty automatically. Sometimes you have to teach it, right? You have to tell it, oh, hey, this transaction means it's coming from this. For instance, because my mortgage company is licensed in multiple states, I was getting billed from something called Wyoming LLC, and it was based out of Wyoming. And I, for the life of me, had no idea, but I had a $9 a month charge 11 times every single month. And I didn't realize that until I integrated my account and I set the rule and it said, hey, you actually pay this vendor. What is that? Let's say it's 10. So not, $90 a month. What is that? I went on and looked at $99 a month. I went on and looked at it and I realized, after using the AI tool, it did a search for that vendor and it said, oh, this is this company, basically a company that's in a state. And it gave me directions on how to unsubscribe from each one of those platforms. That way I was only billed for 5 of them because it was only supposed to be 5. That's what's nice about a lot of AI nowadays and a lot of just systems out there. I know people are worried, what is the AI going to do with my information? I'd say in context of this, the only thing the AI is doing is it's taking your prompt and it's figuring out an answer so you don't have to sit there and do it. If you wanted to do it yourself, I would have had to type in, what is this merchant? And I would have to find a website that gives me that information and shows me what kind of services they provide so that I can then realize, oh, I'm probably using this service. And then I'd have to search their whole website to find the unsubscribe button. Instead, what AI is doing is it's searching it for you. It's not housing all your data and doing weird things with it. It's not spending money for you, but it's organizing a lot of your expenses. The same thing that we do is we track, so that's the subscription and smart spending insights. So what I found when I used a platform like this is there were times where I was spending money with certain vendors, not realizing that there was a cheaper tool that did the same exact thing somewhere else. Or I wanted to find a way to find a cheaper tool. For instance, I was paying for a company called Apollo to help with our email marketing for our business. I didn't like what they were producing. I asked our AI tool the AI coach within My Asset Path. I said, look, I use this platform called Apollo. I think it's great because this is what it does, but it's starting to get really expensive and it's not having the results I want it to have. And it recommended a totally different platform and told me why. And the platform was half the cost. The platform had an entire article written on how they're better than Apollo. And so it just worked out. And that's what I like about AI things and how you can go transaction by transaction, categorize your expenses and say, okay, I'm not a big financial analyst or accountant. Accountants don't really know and understand my business. But if I can have an AI coach that says, hey, this plumbing company, let me look at all the top plumbing companies out there to see what they do, what coaches for plumbing companies teach, and let me organize all that information and give it to this user based on the money that they're spending so I can give better insights on how to grow their business. It's not perfect, but to me, that's better than paying thousands and thousands of dollars for an actual coach. But this is where you can identify red flags, but also just get insights on, hey, how could I spend money in better areas? For instance, one of the things I really like is, and we do this with regular users as well, The search engine searches. So for instance, we were spending a lot of money with, I forgot. I think we were getting office supplies from like Office Depot. Didn't even think about Costco. All of a sudden the AI said, hey, you're spending all this money at Office Depot. Did you know that Costco sells similar products? Here's a discount code, which, if you shop at Costco.com, you actually get a cheaper discount than if you go into the store. And it just searches the internet and finds this. We've tried to do the affiliate link where we get paid out for it. Doesn't really set up properly. So we just have the AI searching the internet for all these discounts for people. We had a neighbor of mine actually is a contractor. It analyzed all of his expenses, found that certain products he was shopping for on a regular basis, he could have been buying at different providers, or there were a couple that he shopped consistently at Home Depot, but he had no idea that if he switched and shopped online, he got a 10% discount, which he spends thousands of dollars, if he shops online and picks it up in person. So once again, this is what one of the insights does. And this is something that if I was looking for another tool, I'd be looking for, especially if your business spends money on a lot of different products. If it's more tech-based, may not be as helpful, but I guess you never know. And same thing, setting financial goals. What I found years ago when I started my mortgage company was I thought, in order to exit, and build a huge mortgage company that produces really well, this is what I need to do. ChatGPT came along. I said, hey, ChatGPT, this is my goal for my business. This is my business type. This is what we currently do. What do you think? And it pretty much told me my goal was great, but the path I was taking was totally wrong. And it analyzed and gave me every reason why. And so I really encourage a lot of businesses out there, this is what they should be doing. It's a lot of what like Kickoff does with the credit bureaus. It analyzes your whole credit report and everything about it. And it says, hey, if you want to get your credit score up by this many points, this is exactly what you have to do, specific to what Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax recommend based on your specific situation. It's the same with your finances. Setting the different goals and allowing technology to really help you figure out, even if it's just, hey, I want to have a goal of lowering my expenses by 10% this year and increasing my income 10% this year. What do you recommend? Giving it as much insight as you can about your business and allowing it to make those recommendations and correcting it if it's wrong. Because I've had times where I said, well, I can't do that because that's not legal according to our mortgage company, and it reran its parameters and gave me accurate advice that I really appreciated. So that's one of the big tools. And of course, like I talked about, what's nice is everything is really security driven. I've found a lot of people don't want to integrate their bank accounts, and they don't even want to. My dad was one of them as a kid's dentist. I'm gonna throw him under the bus a little bit. He did not want to set up online banking because he was worried that people were going to steal his information. So everything was paper. And after just searching a few articles, I showed him how the paper billing is probably even worse and you're more susceptible to get your information stolen. Technology, yes, it's not perfect. All you have to do is lock your credit and set up fraud alerts, and you should be fine. I mean, I go to the store and I see the bill go up to a couple $100, and I know I'm just going to get a text message wanting me to approve that that was actually me. I'm fine doing that. If that means I can organize everything into one platform so that I know that I am safe and secure. But our platform and any other platform you look at should have these functions set up. This will eventually be an app that people can set up. And I do think this is where it can get really interesting, because as a business owner, once again, I want to be able to set something and forget about it. So if I want to set a financial goal or a certain budget, I want to also be able to set an alert so that that alert sends me a notification either through an app on my phone. Probably, I don't think we'll do text messages, but or an email, so that I can say, okay, where am I at with my budget? Where am I at with, am I overspending in certain areas? Am I short on funds? So I need to transfer money from one account to another. did I just hit my financial goal, or whatever it might be? Or is there a new deal and I'm already shopping over here at Home Depot constantly, and I just haven't gotten on the app to see, hey, there's a discount for this. For instance, we get a lot of home service-based companies, so roofers, handymen, whatever it might be, that getting those alerts of new discounts available at different shops and brands and warehouse providers that they shop at is huge, because it feeds into their profit margin. And then just custom reports getting sent to you about, hey, here's your progress, whatever it might be. And even if you have a payroll provider, or you have something like QuickBooks that goes right into it and files your taxes, there's ways that we have ways coming up soon where you can connect that with your payroll provider, download reports, send it right to them and say, hey, CPA, here you go. Here's my expenses for this last year. Let me know if you have any questions, and set it and forget about it. Because trust me, I just met with my CPA, and 3 hours or 2.5 hours later, we finally got it all figured out. So I'm ready for this next year with better reporting. And then, proven business results, just taking a look at it and saying, hey, how can I use whatever tool you sign up for? I think everyone should always be asking, how could I use this better? Even if it's something like Kickoff and you're tracking your credit score, how could I be using this better and getting better insights? The more your credit score goes up, the better deals you get in mortgages, car loans, credit cards, whatever it might be. It's going to be the same thing with your own business related expenses. So that's really it. I think I'll hand it back to you two if you wanted to share anything or.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cameron. That was super interesting. And so just a couple questions. Now, you're able to put in your, this is over in 2 minutes, or how, is there any Q&A?
I don't usually do a Q&A. I can, but.
All good. I was just curious about your own product.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, no, I love it.
So you're able to aggregate, let's say, as a business, what you're bringing in, your loans. And now, does this also function as, let's say you've got different stock, and then also, let's say you were an angel investor and you had
angel investors. The only thing, we do have a category where people can manually enter it in, but it doesn't really reflect unless if it's being reported somewhere.
Okay.
So the way if you have stock in companies, it's got to be with one of the major investment accounts. So I can't remember the whole list of the different ones. I know, Fidelity, I believe Robinhood. All of the major ones like Charles Schwab, if you have a financial advisor and they go through Charles Schwab, you can integrate all of those as well and track that.
Okay.
Yeah. Separate investments, there's ways to manually do it, but it would just, if the performance is less than what you manually put in, then it's kind of hard to track that.
Of course.
Yeah. But if you wanted to get a good idea of your net worth, and you have a goal to hit a certain net worth, and you can manually add that. For instance, if someone said, well, hey, I have this much equity, every year they release, oh my gosh, end of the year, like valuation. You could just go in and add that into your, into your investments manually, just so you get a better track on all of your net worth.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just on our end, just one last thing, I'm going to pop something into the chat, which is our post survey, to ask a couple of questions to you all.
Thanks.
And so now, after today's discussion, do you remember the name of any company or tool mentioned that helps people build or rebuild US credit? And then if you can just type in the name of any company which you remember. And then based on what you heard today, would you consider using Kickoff to help build your credit in the US? Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And do those links stay live for a period of time?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll add it on at least that last link on our website too.
Incredible. And then if you could share your that app that you mentioned,
Yeah.
that would be amazing as well. How's it different from like a Rocket Reach? Or is
Rocket Money.
Yeah.
They have a little less AI driven tools. Someone that works for me, she has it. To do more, you have to pay a lot more for their app.
Yeah, got it.
Where we have it set to people can choose a personal experience or a business related experience. Whereas the business side just offers a bit more. Yeah.
Cool.